In this example project, the logic which I would want to reuse can be found in the add and delete user components. There, I basically have the same data and methods and actually also components option if you take a closer look. Now, you might be able to reuse this logic by creating some wrapper component. But another powerful tool for easily sharing this configuration across both components are the already mentioned mixins. For that, I'll create a new folder, mixins. The name is up to you, but I guess this name makes sense since I'm going to store one or more mixins in there. And I will add the alert mixin file or just the alert.js file. The name is up to you though, how you want to name this file. And in this new JS file, so not a .view file, but in this JS file, I want to store my shared config logic. And in this case here, it's actually an extreme case, the entire config objects for both components are exactly equal. They're exactly the same. So therefore, I will actually grab this entire default export here, copy it from one of the components, and go to the alert.js file and paste it in there. So now in alert.js, I'm exporting this object as a default object. Now what's the advantage of this? Well, now we can use this as a mixin in those components. So for example, in add user, there I can now import the alert mixin, this name is up to you, from going up one level, diving into the mixins folder, alert.js, and now we can remove all the code here so that we're left with the empty config object and add a new option which we haven't used before, the mixins option. And this takes an array where you add all the mixins, so all the shared code you want to apply to this component. And here I add my alert mixin. And I'm going to copy this now, go to delete user, and add the same code there, replacing the existing config object. Now with that, there's just one more tweak we gotta do. I get an error now regarding my user alert. This import here is not required in delete user and add user view anymore, but we have to add it in our mixin because here I'm referencing user alert. So here I'm going to import user alert from going up one level, going into components, user alert.view. With that, I can save this and reload, and we get a warning, failed to resolve component. This mixin concept here will work, but actually not for components. If you got components that should be registered in a component, this components option cannot be shared through a mixin. So therefore, we actually have to remove this and remove the import we just added and bring it back into our custom components, into our custom component options here. So re-add components pointing at user alert and re-add the import. Yes, I know we just removed it, but it is important to understand what you can and what you cannot share through mixins. And component configuration can actually not be shared. So let's quickly re-add it to both our add and delete user components and save everything thereafter. And with that though, if we reload, this will just work. And it works as before, but there is one key difference. Now we got way leaner add and delete user components, where the config objects simply contain the components option and then the mixins option, and all the logic we had in both components before is now in our mixin. And with these mixins, you can share all the component options you typically have, with the exception of components as you saw here, but you can share data, computed, methods, watchers, whatever you need there, it can be shared through mixins. And therefore, mixins can be a powerful tool for making your components leaner and sharing reused logic across components.